On we go with European Cash Game 2, and we join Andy Black complaining that he's the only player at the table who hasn't won a hand.
Well, he certainly played a few. It's not like he's not trying. Maybe it's the unlucky beard.
He is a player that plays a lot of hands, isn't he? He's one of those dangerous players. It can sort of go either way for him. He can have those days where it's a car crash. He can have other days where he just runs over a table, right?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly can be super aggressive in cash games. I've certainly sat in games with him where he's totally dominated. I do fear a little bit that he just calls a bit too much. He can never resist seeing a flop.
The straddle's on again. Andrew Feldman is desperate to get this game up and gambling. But he'll fold, and the flop will be seen by Jens and Andres.
3, Jack, King.
Well, I think we're going to see the power of position again here. And I have a feeling Jens is going to be the big favourite to pick this pot up.
Andres flat called. Let's check this flop.
7.
Getting in this monster early on and have followed.
And as predicted, an easy win. Jens Kulinen.
Okay.
Jens Kulinen is from Helsinki, Finland. In 2009, he claimed his first major title, becoming the EPT Scandinavian Open champion.
I'm Jens Kulinen, I'm from Finland, and my biggest poker achievement would probably be the winning of EPT Copenhagen. I'm not really sure how I started. I guess with just play money and a few friends. Cash game players are generally more skilled players. It takes more skill to play with the deep stacks, and in tournaments they're usually very short stacked, and also there are a lot of people who just try their luck or have one big tournament and think they are really good and just keep playing them. If we compare the buy-ins, obviously, like a high-stakes cash game and a big tournament, the field is usually weaker. I'm pretty aggressive, but I start kind of like a solid tight and try to develop some reads and start making some plays.
This is a cash game. 8 players there at the moment. Players will come in and go out throughout our cash game session. 3 more players waiting in the wings that you'll see. Sammy Any2 George, Simon Munns, German nosebleed online stakes player, and Francois Balmegere, a young online French star. So look forward to seeing them throughout the day.
The other one is,
Fascinated, Neil, that we're seeing so many raises flat called pre-flop and very little re-raising pre-flop.
Yeah, which is interesting. Possibly, one of the interesting things today is that a large number of these guys are more renowned perhaps for their tournament play than their cash game play. And perhaps in the early stages of tournaments, people trying to see flops because the blinds are small, and they're in the sort of swing of that kind of behaviour, and possibly that's a reason.
Yeah, this is called the commentator's curse, though, isn't it? Because we now do have a 3-bet.
Yeah, pretty much exactly the second you said it. Ricardo decided that he'd have a stab at 3-betting out of position with King 9 suited.
Pretty ambitious play.
Well, it was a little bit of a squeeze, wasn't it? We had the raise and the flat call, so, you know.
Well, he doesn't know it because he can't see Jens's hand, but that's a great flop for him.
Well, it's certainly not a great flop for 2 10s, and Jens
That's what I mean.
must be a little bit nervous. Ricardo just has to bet, really, I think. He's 3-bet out of position. He can represent the ace, and, when Jens has only flat called him pre-flop, it's pretty unlikely that Jens has got a hand like ace-queen or ace-king, which he would have probably made a more positive decision one way or the other with pre-flop. If I was Ricardo, I would have been putting Jens on a pair.
I have pocket tens. This is a field bet to see where I am at.
Pocket tens.
Yeah.
Ricardo Souza got off to a little bit of a flyer, already over 12,000 euros, 2,000 euros profit. and hasn't had to show down a hand. Bluffed his way through 2 flops. Here we are with the ranking of poker hands. If you need bailing out and all else fails, you've always got a high card. Next best is 1 pair, better yet, 2 pair. After that, 3 of a kind, also called trips or a set. This is followed by a straight, which is 5 cards in a row of any suit. Next up, prettiest of all the hands, the flush, 5 cards of the same suit in any order. You'll usually be winning with a full house, that's 3 of one kind and a pair. That's unless, of course, your opponent's got sneaky with 4 of a kind, also called quads. Almost unbeatable is a straight flush, 5 cards, all in order, all the same suit. And finally, the sexiest hand of all, a royal flush. That's a straight flush, 8 high.
Lately, he had won a lot, yeah.
Oh.
That hasn't been playing.
On we go, the action will be on Eric.
Pass. Pass.
And folded all the way round to Andrew Feldman in the cut-off,
Pass.
who doesn't want any of this.
As close as I have been to win the pot.
Okay.
I haven't even seen my hand.
Ricardo
Aye.
doesn't have a hand, but does have the button.
Make a small raise. White colors.
2.
Make it chip. Yeah, of course, Andy will call. Now
Yeah.
let's call.
All right,
Yeah.
Fold.
Just giving you 100.
3 players, and not much of a hand between them.
4.
Yeah, this one's gone to form, really, hasn't it? I mean, folded round to Ricardo on the button. He goes for obligatory raise with the position. It's pretty much a shoo-in that Andy Black would call him with any 2 cards, and once that's happened, it's very tempting for Leo to see a flop.
Fold.
Oh.
Nice.
Andy Black's taken a stab at this out of position.
Yeah, he's probably slightly frustrated by the fact that nothing much good has happened so far. And he's just saying, yeah, chances are that Ricardo won't have a king. Now Ricardo just flat calls on the flop. Andy's read that as a bit of weakness and decided to put the second barrel out there. I think Ricardo's going to at least call here. To be honest, I wouldn't raise. I don't think there's much sense in raising. I think my play is to just call and see how Andy reacts.
It's a pretty dry board. When he calls this turn, his hand's reasonably face up for Andy, isn't it?
Andy really should give up. But, I mean, I'm not just saying that because I can see the cards, but, I mean, you know, is Andy making any effort now to think, what's Ricardo calling with? He wasn't calling him with a flush draw. Has he, you know, Andy may be thinking to himself, oh, I've put Ricardo on a pair, but there's a whole bunch of middle pairs that have just flopped a set. And, I don't know, I can't see what, I don't think, I have no idea what Andy's putting Ricardo on here.
He had 5-6. He just river me 5-6.
And Ricardo puts him on exactly the hand that beats him and folds his winning hand.
That's how you play the jack now.
And Andy Black will show the bluff.
Yes, very nice. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I think if I'm Ricardo and I call the turn, I've pretty much got to call the river. If I'm not going to call the river, then I have to raise the turn.
Andrew knows me. Andrew knows me. There's no way I could have a hand.
Well, Andy Black's stacking chips. If his image didn't precede him, he's done everything possible in that hand to make sure that everybody knows what his image is.